I'm your host, the Reverend Steve Wallach from the Spiritual Awareness Center. I was talking with Mike before we got started here and had the center on my mind. But anyway, welcome today. As a matter of fact, today I'm actually going to be talking about the center in this first segment of the show. We recently moved to Fresno. We've been well received here, having been in Madera for many years, but there was just some things that seemed to draw us to Fresno, and so we showed up here, and we've got a growing and an exciting spiritual family at our new location, and I'm excited about it. We're moving into 217, and we got some really good things coming up. I'm not at liberty to disclose them right yet, but I've been in talk with a very close personal spiritual friend of mine, and we got some things in the works that I'm excited about. So hang in there, and we'll as it unfolds, we'll let you know. And if you are of a mind that you would like to come out and join us, if you've been a viewer of the show and you'd like to see what our center is like and experience our spiritual family, you can join us. We're at 4644 West Jennifer Street. That's out near Shaw on 99, Suite 101. We meet there Sunday mornings. We have meditation at 10 o'clock, and our services start at 10:30. And I'd love to have you come out there. But in the meantime, for our show today, as we wrap up the year, and this will be my last show, live show for this year. Things are just going crazy in the world, aren't they? I mean, it's amazing the calls that I'm getting, the people that I'm talking to, the fears, the worry, and of course we have the holiday season, and that seems to bring a lot of angst and worry to a lot of people. So I want to talk a little bit about that today. If you happen to be one of those individuals that's suffering under the anxiety, the stress of the season, or the anxiety and the stress of just what's going on in the world in general, today you're at the right spot, because what we're going to talk about today is the power that you have to change your experience within whatever's going on. We can't change what's going on, but we can change how we react to it, and by doing that, we also change how we experience it. And you'd be surprised as we begin to take control of that part of our life expression, things change in our life. There's something, they call it the law of attraction, which is a convenient way to say that we do seem to attract to us to those things that we hold most prominently in our mind. And I've talked about that concept over the time of our show here, and we'll approach it again in this new year coming up. But where you're at today can be a whole lot better when you make a choice to experience it at a better level. I was reading a book by Christian Larson. He was an early pioneer of the NewThought movement. And as a matter of fact, he was one of the more significant influences in the life of Dr. Ernest Holmes, the fellow that wrote the Science of Mind book that we refer to as our textbook. And Christian Larson, one of the things that he points out, and this is just a powerful tool when we begin to realize that it's a tool that we can use, is to find the good and the joy in everything that we experience in our life. Everything we experience in our life, you say? Yes, absolutely everything that you experience. Because within everything you experience, there's always some good to be found. When we make it a conscious choice to begin to seek that out, then as things happen, that maybe there are things that we are not necessarily thrilled to be experiencing them, given normal conditions, we find the good that's in there, and it becomes a learning experience, or it becomes something that we can turn to our good, something that we can utilize and embody in growing ourselves spiritually, growing ourselves health-wise, growing ourselves relationship-wise, growing ourselves business-wise. It doesn't make any difference. When we begin to realize that there is a power within us that will demonstrate through us at the level of our understanding, the level of our belief, And when we hold a belief that we can find good in all things, we begin to see that this demonstrates a level of good in all things that we experience. I want to read you something out of the Science of Mind book, and we'll talk about this. Ernest Holmes wrote, he says, original life is infinite. Of course, he's talking about the divine life. He's talking about what we refer to as the creative intelligence, or God. And he says it's infinite, and it's good, and it's always good. It can't be anything other than good. And it is filled with peace. It is of the essence of purity. It is the ultimate of intelligence. It is power. It is law. It is life. It is in us, in that inner sanctuary of our own nature. Hidden perhaps from objective gaze, nestled is the seed of perfection. That's a mouthful, isn't it? And when I first read that, I had my doubts and questions. Coming from a more traditional Christian background, it felt different. And I wasn't sure that it was something that I really had a handle on. And so I spent time studying it, and it's a conversation we'll get into later on this year in some of the shows that we have planned. But if God is infinite, think about this for a minute. If God is infinite, or spirit, or universal intelligence, however you prefer to refer to God, if God is infinite, then there's no place where God is not, which means where I sit here, where you sit there, and all the space in between is filled with God's spirit, God energy, God's substance, God's self. And the shift from seeing God as some guy sitting in a chair up there somewhere with a nice big white beard and long white wavy hair, sometimes can be a little uncomfortable, because that God is the God that many of us grew up with. It's what we learned about, and all of a sudden, when you become aware of an infiniteness, that guy has got to go away. That guy has got to be replaced with something else, something greater, if you will. And when we look at we look at an understanding of the divine, this is one of the things that we begin to consider, that God is everywhere, which means that if God is expressing, as Reverend Steve or as yourself, as you're watching this show, how do we get to this point of perfection that Dr. Holmes is talking about? Let me go back and I'll reread this, and we'll look at it again. Power, intelligence, law, life. It is in us, an inner sanctuary of our own nature, hidden perhaps from objective gaze. Nestled are the seed, or is the seed of perfection. In other words, that perfection is located within us right now. It is whole, perfect, and complete, and it sits at the core of our being, and it is available to us. And Jesus referred to this in so many different ways, but one of the most basic ways that we understand is that it is done unto us as we believe. And when he said, I and my Father are one, when he said that heaven is to be found within, these are the things that he was talking about. This found within, I and my Father are one. And he didn't teach this as if he was the great exception. He taught it as if he was the great example. And he shared this. And we have many other texts besides just the texts commonly found in the New Testament in the Bible. Oftentimes they're referred to as Gnostic Gospels or Apocrypha. But there are many books that were written at the time of the Gospels that also discuss this man and his life and the things that he taught. They're powerful teachings. And one of those was found in something called the Nag Hammadi Library back in 1947. And they originally just kind of lumped everything that they found there into a heading of Gnostic Gospels. But as the biblical historians, religious historians, begin to do research and study on that, they've begun to realize that these books were not necessarily of the Gnostic sect, which most people associate them with, but oftentimes were what the early church fathers we're calling Gnostics, we're calling those people, the author of those books, know-it-alls, and not necessarily as it refers to a sect, a particular belief. But there are some powerful things in there, and there are things in there that we'll find in our traditional Gospels in the New Testament, and there's things that we find in there that are even more empowering when we begin to look at it. In one of those Gospels, the Gospel of Thomas, it's what they call a sayings gospel, and Thomas quotes Jesus, and he goes something like Jesus said, and then there's a quote that follows. And one of those quotes goes something to the effect that when you find that which is within you, you will find salvation. And if you don't find that which is within you, you will find despair. And what he's talking about is a concept that there is a power within you, that when you find that power within you, that it empowers you to live a life of salvation, prosperity, harmony, peace, abundance, okay? And if you fail to do so, you live at basically the effects of whatever life brings, and sometimes that can be pretty tough. And so later on, when Ernest Holmes was writing this book, and he didn't have access to those books at that time, but he did have access to many other spiritual teachings, and one of the things that he found, and he relayed, and he incorporated in this Science of Mind book, is this. He says, in our ignorance of the truth, we have misused the highest power we possess. And so great is this power, so complete is our freedom in it, so absolute the domain of law through it, that the misuse of this power has brought upon us the very conditions from which we suffer. We are bound because we are first free. The power which appears to bind us is the only power in the universe which can free us. In other words, that which has held us back in limitation, that which has caused us to experience things of a disharmonious life expression, are things that are tied to our own inner power that has been misused out of our ignorance. That once we begin to learn that there is a power and a presence within us that is available to us that we can use when we use it consciously, that we can create a more healthful, more harmonious, more abundant, more happy, joy-filled, peace-filled life. And as we do this for ourselves, we create a greater, more harmonious, joyful, peaceful world. In other words, what we see in the world today is an expression of a lot of disharmony, but a lot of that disharmony is expressed from individuals that don't find peace within themselves in their world. And this is what New Thought, this is what Science of Mind is about as we go through and we begin to teach these things and implement them and embody them and practice them in our lives. We begin to create a life of peace that affects not only ourselves, but the world of our family, people around us. We're going to go to our first break, and when we come back, we'll pick this up. I'll see you then.
Realtor Letty Pinjatori is a broker associate with Keller Williams, and she is also a voiceover artist. Contact Letty at 559-281-4568.
Elite Custom Painting is here for you. We can help you achieve that custom look with premium paints and custom texture with quality workmanship at reasonable prices. Discounts for veterans and senior citizens. Prompt, reliable, professional, Elite Custom Painting delivers superior customer service, specializing in residential interior and exterior painting, cabinet repainting, wallpaper removal, and retexturing. Call today for your free estimate at 559-970-8154. Since 1998, Cabinetry Design Center has been in the cabinet business and is sustained by 3 decades of unparalleled experience in the industry. We're your one-stop shop for exceptional cabinet designs. Custom cabinets complement the way your home looks and functions. We can make your dream cabinets an aesthetic and functional reality. Cabinetry Design Center will guide you in every step of the process. We make sure that you get what you want and love the finished product. Your cabinets are in good hands with us. Call Cabinetry Design Center, a family-owned business, at 559-277-3500.
Don't want to mail a Christmas present long distance this year? Try something new. Give the unforgettable gift of music. Voices United, an a cappella women's chorus, will call your friends and family and sing a Christmas carol live and include a personalized greeting from you. To order the Singing Graham for only $8, call Robin Briggs 559-860-8437 or email robin@centralvalleytalk.com for details. Voices United will place the calls on Saturday, December 17th and sing your #1 song choice live to your loved ones. Voices United thanks you for your support.
CentralValleyTalk.com.
Welcome back to New Thought Talk. I am your host, the Reverend Steve Wallach. Anyway, I'm talking today about our ability to create in our lives a better life expression, but I'm also talking about the Spiritual Awareness Center, who we've recently moved from Madera into Fresno. If you have the opportunity to come out and join us on Sunday, you'll learn more and you'll learn at a deeper level, and you'll have an opportunity to experience a lot of what we teach. This is a spiritual practicing philosophy that we teach. It's not a mental philosophy that you just you intellectualize. It is a philosophy, a spiritual philosophy that allows you to embody a spiritual consciousness and express more of the spiritual beingness that we believe that each of us are. And we have come into this world with the basic raw material, if you will, but life tends to complicate our life experience. And so at some point, oftentimes we get to a point of realization where we go, there's got to be more than just this. It can't just be struggle day in, day out. There's got to be something more. And maybe, just maybe, that this creative intelligence, this universal creative force that we call God, just maybe it created life to be expressed and to be experienced in a loving, harmonious, and abundant way. And maybe there's a way that we can get there. And when we begin to look at what Jesus did teach, we begin to see that that's what he was talking about, is living more abundantly, living more in harmony with divine principle. And he broke it down. He said there are 2 things on which all the law hangs, and that was to love God with all your heart, your mind, your soul, and basically all your being, and to love your neighbor as yourself. And he said, on these 2 things all the law hangs. Now, that's a pretty big chunk, but if you follow the logical conclusion behind what he was teaching there, that if the law, all the law hangs on that, that's the law of good, the law of abundance, the law of joy, law of peace, harmony, law of attraction. It all falls within those 2 commandments that he gave. Because when we love God with all we are, we don't have any room for anything else. We also don't have any room for fear. When we love our neighbors as ourselves and we accept them as the divine creation that they are, expressing God through them, and our life experience becomes one of greater peace and harmony. When we understand, or we begin to see, that God is not only the creative behind, intelligence behind all that is, but God is also the source of all that is. That God hasn't gone away, that God is continuously creating today, and that God has expressed itself as substance available to us. That everything that we see around us at some point in time really began as an idea in some consciousness, some mind, even if it's the mind of God, that what we see expressed in this physical realm came from ideas that became substance that we can incorporate in our lives. Problem is, we got reversed in our understanding. We become dependent on substance, on materiality, and we have failed to see that the true source behind it is spirituality and our spiritual connectedness. So out at the Spiritual Awareness Center, we talk about and we teach about these laws that have created, that God has expressed through, that has created the universe that we experience. It's exciting stuff when you realize your role in your life experience is, to a great extent, how you choose to experience life. Not somebody else, not something outside of you, not some conditions, but something within you, that when you begin to open up to it, at the level that you open up to it, it will express itself through you in powerful and wonderful ways. Continuing on out of the Science of Mind, it says, Ernest Holmes writes that Spirit works for us by working through us, Spirit being God, of course. The thing then works for us by working through us, and it is us, always. It cannot work for us in any other way. It spreads itself over the whole universe, and it shouts at us from every angle, but it can only become power to us only when we recognize it as power. In other words, if we recognize a world of limitation, then that's where we put the power. But if we recognize the world as peaceful, harmony, and abundant, then that's where we put the power. You know, we can walk out into the rain and be as thirsty as the day is long, but if we only take a thimble out of which we drink, then we're only going to get a thimble of water. But if we take a bucket, we can get a bucket full of water. Well, imagine, if you will, a universe that responds to us in the same manner. That if we take a thimble full of expectation out, that God will fill that thimble, but will only fill that thimble. But if we take a bucket out, God will fill the bucket. If we take a large tank out, God will fill the tank. It's done unto us as we believe. What do you believe today about the good that you experience in your life? Do you believe that you're worthy of good? Do you believe that you're enough? If you don't, why not? Have you been told time and time again that you fall short of something, that you are less than something, that you will never amount to anything, that there's always some kind of debt to be paid by the mere fact that you exist in the life that you live? If you've accepted that, then life can be pretty tough. But what if you look at it and say, how can and how would an infiniteness, a loving infiniteness, a loving creator, how could it create anything other than good? Because if it's infinite, there cannot be any place for anything less than good. There cannot be a house divided against itself, if you will. There can only be good. But you say, well, wait a second. We're not experiencing good here. We look around at the world and we see all this stuff. Why is that? And what we see is the effects of people, humanity, that has accepted a less thanness and has expressed that less thanness in a physical world, in a physical plane. But it doesn't have to be that way. And we've seen examples, we've seen individuals, teachers, avatars that have come into the world, as has Jesus or Moses or the Buddha or Lao Tzu or many others that history has told us about, that have brought these teachings. And they're ancient teachings. They're ancient because they predate time. They predate our creation. They are there from the beginning, if you will. And they express without any deviation. But once we begin to understand that and we begin to apply it in mind and in life, we can become the co-creators in our life experience. If it's done unto us as we believe, what is it that we choose to believe? Belief is a choice. What you believe today, you didn't believe yesterday. Now, there's a little secret that goes along with this that most people don't realize, and that is that what we believe, oftentimes, we're not even aware of, that we believe it. But it's there. It's held fast within our subconscious, subjective mind, and it has an effect and a control over our life experience and our life expression. If you say, well, Reverend Steve, I want to experience greater good and greater abundance in my life, but I've tried to work this law of attraction thing, and it's just not working for me. And I don't know why. I mean, people tell me it works. I've seen it work in other people's lives, but it's not working in my life. Why isn't it working in my life? And I've got an answer for you. It's not working because you don't believe that it works. Well, wait a second. You say, I've read the books, and you still have to understand that at some level there is a resistance within the mind of a kind of belief that says, I'm not worthy, or it's not going to happen, or I'm not enough, or any other limiting type of belief. It's not impossible to overcome. There is a way, and the way is it's not hard, but it requires a commitment. It requires a doingness, if you will. Oftentimes, it can be as easy as sitting down and begin to write out an experience that you're having in your life today that you would rather not have. I'm a salesman and I'm not making the sales, or I'm in a relationship and it's not working for me, or whatever it is. You can write that out, and then opposite of that, write out what is it that you have to believe for this circumstance to be true. It makes no difference whether you're an addict, whether you're lost, if you will, whether you're in poverty or in disease. It makes no difference. What do I have to believe for this to be true? And this is where we start our work at. We start our work at our level of beliefs. It is done unto us as we believe. And when we decide that we no longer want it to be done unto us the way that it's being done unto us, then we know it's time for us to work on our beliefs. And there are tools that we can use. At Spiritual Awareness, we teach those tools through various classes. As a matter of fact, coming up, we're going to be starting in probably mid-February with a foundations class. Got Michael J. Allen. He is a minister, and he is joining us for that class. Going to be a powerful class. We have ongoing classes on Sunday after our celebration. These are classes that we provide pro bono, if you will, for our congregation, for people that want to learn some basic stuff about this to begin to implement it in their lives. These classes are available. I also give private classes, and we have some other classes that we'll be giving starting in February also. And we've got, like I said in the beginning, we've got some exciting things coming up for this year. Classes, people, I wish I could just all unfold it. I just had a great meeting this week, and I'm excited. I can hardly control myself. So anyway, I want to get back to this. So we cannot recognize that it is while we are believing that it is not. And what we mean here is we can't recognize that there is abundance in life available to me when I don't believe that there's abundance in life available to me. When I don't believe that I am destined to be successful, I will not experience success in my life. If you want to experience success, and I don't mean necessarily success in money, but it could be that way. It might be success in a relationship, success in your job, success in school, success in life, period. Having a level of affluence that you're comfortable with. If you don't believe you're worthy of it, you won't experience it in your life. But you can experience it in your life. You should experience it in your life. You were created to experience it in life. When God created you as a whole, perfect and complete being with all the tools that you need to experience and enjoy success. But it's up to you to begin to take the steps to bring you there, and you take those steps in mind. You embody those steps in heart, and you express those steps through consciousness and thought into creating a wonderful life experience. So anyway, we're going to take another break. We'll pick this up when we come back. See you then.
Here at Central Valley Talk, we've chosen Select Business Systems to provide for our copy, print, and scanning needs. We used to think it was cheaper to purchase our own toner and maintain our own office equipment. But now, with the expertise and experience of Select Business Systems, our office workflow is running at peak performance, saving our company time and money. They've truly set us up with our new sharp multifunction copier, streamlining our office with the press of a button. To find out how you can improve your office technology, call Select Business Systems at 446-0123 or visit their website at selectsharp.com.
This segment was brought to you by Pro Travel Network Fresno. For all your vacationing planning, call Jennifer Rogers at 559-317-6735.
CentralValleyTalk.com.
Welcome back to New Thought Talk. I am your host, the Reverend Steve Walling. And we're talking about New Thought, Science of Mind, and I'm also sharing a little bit about the Spiritual Awareness Center. Now, the Spiritual Awareness Center, as I said, we recently moved to Fresno. We go back to about 1994 when Reverend Jim and Joanna Fox founded the center in Madera. And we've had a very long and wonderful run, and now we've moved to Fresno. You know, it's amazing how people limit themselves and how their beliefs hold them in a consciousness of limitation. And in discussing our circumstance with people and their desire to want to express a greater life, they kept asking us to come to Fresno. And so we've answered that desire now, and we're here. And like I say, it's been it's been an exciting and wonderful experience that is growing, and it's going to continue to grow. The things, like I said earlier, we've got unfolding for this year of 2017 with just a lot of new stuff that's coming. It's going to be dynamic, and if you have been considering life, and it makes no difference how old you are, if you've been considering life and thinking that maybe there's something more to life than what I've been experiencing, if you felt a desire to make a spiritual connection, not even sure exactly what that is, but you have this desire, and if you have looked at and decided that a traditional understanding of a spirituality doesn't resonate with you, that you believe that maybe there is something more, something beyond, look us up. We have a website. It is maderasac.com, and Michael has put that up on the board behind me here. We have a Facebook page, Spiritual Awareness Center, and you can find us there. You can always find me at my page. Take the time, invest time into yourself. You know, you are the controller of your life experience, and I've said this many times. You want to experience a greater life expression? When are you going to make yourself important enough in your life to experience this? Come on out. Contact us. See what's going on. You just may find that there's something there that resonates with you, that touches you, that opens up some doors for you, that allows you to begin to experience life at a whole different level, shifting to a whole different paradigm, and freeing yourself from thoughts and beliefs that have held you back at this point in time. There is no more powerful experience in life than to express your life in a spiritual way. It's a phenomenal experience as you begin to watch this unfold for yourself. I enjoy sharing this with people, and I enjoy seeing it unfold in people's lives when they do this, empowering them. We do a form of prayer that we call affirmative prayer treatment that is a powerful prayer, but it's a powerful experience in being a creative force in our life for good. What we learn as we begin to study and what we embody as we begin to experience and express this is it's pretty incredible, and it's something that to try and cover it here, I couldn't do it justice, but it's there for you when you decide that you want to do it. So I want to encourage you to come on out on Sunday, 4644 West Jennifer Street, near Shaw 99 in Fresno, because there is a power for good in the universe that's available to you. All the ancient and all the spiritual teachings have said this in one way or another when you look across the spectrum of what's been taught. It's a lot of it's filled in with dogma and theology and man created rules, if you will. But when you break that all away, when you brush it all aside, we come down to there is something in the universe that is the creative force of all that is. In science, there has been a long-running battle, if you will, or argument as to whether there is a force behind creation or whether creation was just a happenstance, a freak of nature, if you will. And you read the history of it, it's very interesting. But most of your great thinkers, people like Niels Bohr, Albert Einstein, your modern theoretical physicists, they see the universe, they see creation, and as they see it, they see that there is a force behind this, and they are still trying to figure out exactly what that force is. But one of the more current definitions is they call this all that is undifferentiated consciousness, and that all that is material they refer to as differentiated consciousness. But the differentiated consciousness came out of the undifferentiated consciousness, we can get into this some other time, but the idea is that there is a something, a beingness, not a being, but a beingness behind creation, and it is conscious. And we are an expression of that consciousness, and because we are part of it and we are conscious, all that it is available to us as we begin to realize our place within it and align ourselves in belief with it and use it to create a better life. We have looked historically outside of the individual for the causes of all that is in the universe. We look for causes beyond ourselves. When we begin to look inwardly and see that the true cause of all that is starts here within ourselves, and we make that connection. All that my Father has is mine if I and my Father are one. What does that mean, if I and my Father are one? I and my Father, I and God, I and Spirit, I and universal intelligence, I'm not God, but I'm expression of God as me, or source, or whatever you want to call it. That there is a power, and that power is a power of, that expresses through me, is a power of consciousness expressing itself as thought. And thoughts are things, and thoughts are powerful, and thoughts are creative in the universe. And our thoughts find their foundation in our beliefs. When we look to our beliefs, and as we have been told so often in so many ways, it's done unto us as we believe. Our beliefs create our thoughts create our reality. Our reality is the world that we experience. When we begin to take control of what it is we believe, then we take control of how we think, what our thinking process is, then we control the reality that we experience. You're upset with the world, you're upset with the news, you're upset with your life. If you could clear the board today and put a whole new panorama of stuff in front of you, you would still be upset because you are wherever you are. If you want to grow beyond your upsetness, it's not about what's going on out there. It's about what's going on in here. And when you take and make the choice and you decide to move and you decide to learn and embody and grow and study and practice and work the conscious pathway of spirituality, you will change your inner world, and it will change your outer world. And as things happen in your outer world, you will experience them in a more positive way. As you experience them in a more positive way, your world will be a more positive world. As your world becomes a more positive world, the people around you experience a more positive world. You see how this goes, and it just goes and goes and goes. But until we come to make that choice, we still experience our bondage through our ignorance, and we stay in lack and fear and worry. And so our world presents to us those things to be fearful of, those things that we don't have, and those things that we feel that we need in order to be enough. But that's not the truth of who we are. And we have the power to create the truth of who we are. It amazes me to watch this unfold, but I've got to tell you, you are that force in your life. And I can say it in many different ways. But until you decide to make that choice, things aren't going to change. A book's not going to change it for you. Someone else is not going to change it for you. You have to make a choice. You have to make a choice, and then you have to move forward. And as you do, as you begin to start your spiritual journey, you will see things change in your life completely. You see, you're not a physical being having a spiritual experience. You are a spiritual being having a physical expression. And until you reorient yourself to that understanding, you're always going to be approaching life backwards. And when you approach life backwards, you'll always be on the receiving end and never on the creative end. When you decide to make a choice to see yourself in the truth of who you are, then you move to the creating end of your life. You move to the dynamic input into your life experience. This power, this presence, this love that's ever available to you is there. But until you make yourself aware of it, you don't notice it. And until you notice it, you don't experience it. You experience being at the beck and call of whatever the outside brings to you. And that can be tough. And most all of us have been that way at some time. But there are people that have made a choice for something different. There are people that have made a choice for change. And as we have seen life unfold with these people, it's miraculous. It's miraculous what happens. Life is not this physical expression. Life is an infiniteness, and we all are part of it because we are all part of the divine presence. And that includes you, my friends. And I'm looking at the clock. I'm going to take the last break, and then we'll come back and we'll wrap things up for today. See you then.
Christy Majors is your local real estate connection. With a solid, hardworking team, traditional listings, short sales, probate listings, and foreclosures are treated in a personal and caring way and close in a timely fashion. Since 2009, Team Majors has closed more than $75 million worth of homes all over California. Reliable and trustworthy, Christy and her team will go the extra mile for every client, whether selling or buying a home. So give Team Majors a call at 559-464-5606 or visit teammajors.com.
The Fifth Quarter, a restaurant and sports bar in Visalia. 24 of your favorite beers on tap and a full bar. Entertainment for all. Pool tables, karaoke, a DJ, and even a drag show. Watch the game with us and get some great food. Burgers, sushi, and much more. Don't wait for overtime. Head into the Fifth Quarter for a great time today.
Don't go through the stress and hassle of cleaning your house yourself. Let a professional handle the job. Call Priscilla Hill Professional Cleaning Services for no-rush cleaning. Priscilla is known for her thorough, high-quality cleaning work. Priscilla offers affordable, routine cleaning starting at only $30 a week. Deep cleaning is also available. Call or text so Priscilla can customize a cleaning plan to meet your needs. Need a dentist? Call Dr. David Wright at 559-222-6213 or visit bitemedental.com.
CentralValleyTalk.com.
Welcome back. I'm your host, Reverend Steve Walling. This is New Thought Talk, and I hope you enjoyed our journey through the show today and kind of wrapping up the end of the year with just thoughts that have been on my mind and things that I've seen with people as they've experienced the end of the year blues, the news cycle blues, the election blues, whatever, and watching that and knowing that there are people that aren't experiencing that because they've chosen to create a different life for themselves, and knowing that that life is available for everybody, knowing that it makes no difference what the outside world is throwing at you. What makes the difference is what the inside of you is choosing to express. And so this is what I've been talking about. And if you're unfamiliar with New Thought, oftentimes people talk about New Thought, Ancient Wisdom, because it is a compilation of very ancient teachings that have been incorporated in many different spiritual sects, religions, and sometime almost 200 years ago, there were a group of people that began to look at these things, and they said, well, this is common to all these various belief systems. And they began to put them together, and they also began to see that there were things that can happen in one's life when one began to take control of their own life through their controlling their thoughts and their beliefs. And dynamic, wonderful things begin to happen. You see this ongoing today. You have early teachers like Ernest Holmes and Joel Goldsmith, and if you're not familiar with them, I highly recommend that you pick up their books. Christian D. Larson, Eric Butterworth, William Walker Atkinson, Abel Allen. The list goes on. You can find these online in a lot of online libraries that hold books that are out of copyright. One of them is NewThoughtLibrary.com. You can always go there. If you would like to connect with a center or a church near you, you can go to findacenter.com. The organization that puts those up makes them available to the entire world through the internet, and there's no cost for you to participate in that. If you happen to have a center and would like to to update your information on the Find a Center website, if you go there, they have a link that will lead you to the place where you can become involved with that and husband your particular center's information. It's available to you. There's many different other sources out there that you can find. Centers for Spiritual Living, they have their page, and there's many of their centers around. Unity Church is another one. Universal Foundation for Better Living. In other words, I'm just kind of going through some of these things. You can find something probably near you. And depending on where you're at in your spiritual journey, you may find something that resonates with you, that makes sense more than, or that you feel more comfortable with. But you're going to grow. As you walk your path, you're going to grow. Remember, everything that you believe today, you didn't believe at one time. And you can create and develop new beliefs, and you can create and develop new ways to empower yourself. And so the resources are out there. Again, we have our center here in Madera. We have our center in Fresno now, and we have our webpage, which is it's maderasac.com. You can go there. We have a link where you can make a donation through PayPal to support our center, and it also goes to support this program here. And we welcome any offerings that you care to share, and we put them to good use. And I thank you in advance for taking the time to do that. You can also find on my Facebook page, Steve Walling, I put up a daily journal post, and you're welcome to utilize that as part of your spiritual path. And you can go to my Facebook page, and you can always message me with questions, and I do respond to people that send me questions. And if you're looking for guidance or direction, feel free to contact me. And like I say, I will respond. You are important, each and every one of you, because each and every one of you are an expression of divine principle, of divine expression of God. You are God expressed as you. And you have a right to experience life optimally. But you have to discover that you have that right, and you have to believe that you have that right, and then you have to put that expression into your life experience. And it's amazing how many people will get to a point, well, Reverend Steve, I think I'd like to do that. I think, but and they have their list of I think buts, or yes buts, or should have, would have, could have, or whatever. It's time for you to make a choice for yourself. It's time for you to do something more than just live at the expense of life. It's time for you to take control of your life. And that time is now. And now is always the PowerPoint of your life. Right now. Make the choice right now. Make the choice to do something right now. Make the choice to get in touch with the center. Make a choice to read a book. Make a choice to turn away from the computer and just take a moment of meditation and prayer, to seek guidance, to further yourself. Right now is the time. See, we always put our time off till tomorrow, day after tomorrow, and then when that time comes, it's, well, I should have done it in the past. I didn't have time. When are you going to take the time to make yourself as important to yourself as you should be? Because you are worthy. You are God expressed as you. That means you are such a wonderful, divine, dynamic, expressive, spiritual being. Have a think about it. Have you ever thought about yourself in those terms? Divine, dynamic, expressing spiritual being? Or have you just thought about yourself as, that's the image that looks back at me in the mirror, and so what? It's not so what, and it's never been so what. But life has told us that it's so what. Life has told us that we are limited. Life has told us many other things. But you know what? There's a greater truth, and when you stop, when you go into the silence, when you begin to listen, you'll realize that there's something within you that says, you are important. I am important. I am important. And then you begin to seek that out. You begin to want to express that in your life, and your life begins to change. How wonderful that is, I can tell you, but until you begin to put it into practice in your life, it's impossible to share the understanding. But you can do this, and you can do it right now. You can do it. You can pick up a book. You can go to a page. You can make a donation. You can do whatever it is, but you have to make the choice to do it. You want to be more successful in life. You want to have a more affluent life. Your reason for being here is to have that more successful life. Your reason for being here is to have that more affluent life. Your reason for being here is to express life as it is meant to be expressed, and that is completely. One of the things that science knows is that we're either growing, living, or we're dying. if we're not working on creating a more abundant, more expressive life, then we're slowly fading away, if you will, in consciousness, in life, in mind, and in our life expression. Doesn't have to be that way. Come on out to Spiritual Awareness Center here in Fresno. Go to a center near yourself. You know, it's the end of the year. I want you to start this new year. I want you to start this new year off empowering yourself, because I know that as you do that, you're going to make a greater new year, a greater year, and you're going to make a greater world. Regardless of what you think the world is doing or having right now, you are going to make a greater world just by making greater choices. No one else can do it but you. No one else can make that choice but you. It's powerful, and it's good, and it's God. And I'm going to wrap my show up today at this point. So you can reach us, like I say, through our Facebook page or through our webpage. You can catch us on Saturdays here on centralvalleytalk.com. There's many different ways you can reach out and touch us. Do so. And as you go through life, remember that the light of God surrounds you. The love of God enfolds you. The power of God protects you. The presence of God watches over you. Wherever you are, God is there. All is well. Make it a great week. Make it a great life. It's your choice. Do it, and do it now. Blessings, and I'll see you when I come back.
Need raisins? Call National Raisin Company at 559-834-5981 or online at nationalraisin.com.
Clovis Bicycle is located at Bullard, Minnewawa in Clovis near Dollar General. Featuring kids' bikes, cruisers, road or mountain bikes, and now featuring a selection of recumbent bikes. Check them out at clovisbicycle.com or call 325-2453.
Prescription narcotic drugs can be addictive and dangerous to your health, but there is another way. Dr. Daniel Brubaker's mission is to help patients, caregivers, and volunteers make informed decisions regarding the medicinal benefits they may expect to achieve from cannabis and whether or not cannabis is right for them. Cannabis can provide safe, natural pain relief for anorexia, arthritis, asthma, back problems, chronic pain, diabetic neuropathy, fibromyalgia, glaucoma, gout, herniated discs, HIV/AIDS, inflammation, insomnia, joint pain, Tourette's syndrome, and more. Call Musculoskeletal Medical Associates today at 559-248-0116 and find out if medicinal cannabis is right for you.